Live mealworms, Uncle Jim's Worm Farm. UncleJim'sWormFarm.com. There were many mealworms shipped to me in this yellow bag. These are the final few that will be moved to their new home. This is the container the mealworms are being put in. It will be their new home. Here you see a bunch of mealworms moving about in their new home. Mealworms eat ground up cereal grains like oats, corn, wheat, and rice. They also can eat ground up cat or dog food. The ground up cereal grains like oats, corn, wheat, rice, and dog food are what the mealworms are moving around in. Are you ready to meet, handle, examine, care for, and learn about an interesting creature? I hope so. The living creature that you see on the screen is called a mealworm. It is called a mealworm, but it is not a worm. I repeat, it is not a worm. Remember, worms do not have legs. Look closely at these creatures as they move about in the palm of my hand. Use your best I Spy eyes. Can you spot the legs on any of the mealworms? Do they have legs? Yes, they do. They are not worms, but they are called mealworms. Remember, worms do not have legs. Mealworms do not bite or sting. Their legs may tickle you a little as they crawl on your skin. They cannot hurt you. You, however, can hurt them. So please be very gentle and careful when handling mealworms. So, what are these mealworms? Mealworms are more like caterpillars. Mealworms are larvae. Caterpillars are the larval stage of moths and butterflies. A larva is one of the stages of development an insect goes through during metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a big word. Think of the word metamorphosis as change or changes. Let's try to clap the syllables of metamorphosis. Are you ready? Metamorphosis. Let's try that again. Ready? Metamorphosis. One final time. Ready? Metamorphosis. When an animal goes through stages of metamorphosis, it changes. Many insects start as a tiny egg, then change to a larva, sort of like a caterpillar. Then the larva changes to a pupa, and finally they emerge as an adult. We learned about woolly bear caterpillars early in the school year. Woolly bear caterpillars are a good example of an insect that goes through metamorphosis. Woolly bear caterpillars start as tiny eggs laid by a female Isabella tiger moth. In a couple of weeks, these eggs hatch into tiny woolly bear caterpillars. This is when they are larvae. They start as very small larvae, but they eat and grow and grow and grow. Then the woolly bear caterpillar or larva makes a cocoon and changes into a pupa. Finally, it changes inside of the cocoon as a pupa and emerges as an adult Isabella tiger moth. Other animals like amphibians, which are frogs, toads, newts, and salamanders, also go through metamorphosis. I wonder what type of insect the mealworm will change into. Remember, right now it's in its larval stage, and it's got to go to a pupa and then emerge as an adult. What do you think? What do you think the mealworm will look like as an adult. Mealworms must molt in order to grow. Molting is like shedding. They must shed or molt their exoskeleton, which is the skin that holds them together. The skin of the mealworm splits down the back and the mealworm slides out. When this happens, the mealworm is white. This is a sure sign that the mealworm has molted recently. The mealworm will turn brown as it ages until it molts again. I'm sure you noticed some white mealworms in the video. They are the mealworms that recently shed their skin or exoskeletons. Can you see all of the exoskeletons, the molted skins of the mealworms lying around? Look closely. I've outlined some of them in red to make sure that you can see them. The mealworm will molt many times as a larva before it changes into a pupa. Here you are looking at 2 pupa in the palm of my hand. As a pupa, they do not eat and they barely move. Every now and then, they may wriggle around. After a couple of weeks of changing as a pupa, they emerge as an adult. Do you see the 2 pupa on the screen in front of you? What do you think they will look like as adults? Remember, the mealworm starts as a tiny whitish egg, about the size of a speck of dust. The egg hatches after about 10 days. When it hatches, a very small caterpillar-like larva comes out. This larva is known as the mealworm, and the mealworm larva will grow and molt and grow and molt for about 2 months. Then it changes into a pupa. As a pupa, it will not eat and it will barely move. Every now and then it may wriggle around. After a couple of weeks of changing as a pupa, they emerge as an adult. What will the adults look like? That's the big question. Our mealworms will be eating wheat and corn and oats that we give them, but they also need water. All living things need water to survive. We will give our mealworms slices of apple or carrots or possibly potatoes once or twice a week. This will provide them with enough water to survive and grow. I'm excited to see what the final stage of metamorphosis will be for the mealworms. What will they look like as adults? Be patient, and we might just find out together.